And any extra cars that you make or any extra parts that you make, you'll be able to sell them as NFTs, to those who are looking for them, right? So it makes it a really important to participate, and we're even opening the door so that if you and your friends share a card, if each of you have a car, you can all compete individually, but you can pool your resources into making more cars or more parts.
You are the founder of ATEM Car Club. If you're into cars, these are futuristic, super high fidelity. It all looks amazing, but give us the lowdown about kind of how this started and then maybe what you guys are trying to achieve altogether.
I've spent my whole life in technology, and I'm an accountant as well. So that's pretty boring. Doing cars has always been a cathartic thing for me, and learning about them and the amount of resources that you get from YouTube. So I always had a project in the garage to go out to, and I used to buy cars that were cool but needed work and flip them to make spare cash to sink into the next one, And
that's awesome.
Over the years, I've been able to found and become members of a number of different car clubs in my city and in my country, in New Zealand, and share that passion with a huge variety of people. And cars to me became about the community. I started getting this feeling that they were getting left behind in the technology realm. They were starting to become something that wasn't bigger or as an important part of our lives. And a few reasons for that was they weren't as accessible anymore. Having a spare garage to work on a car, having spare cash to put into. So some of these betas are ghastly expensive, and you could buy a brand new car for the price of a beta that's going to cost you a fortune to restore. It's just getting less accessible, and I didn't want that culture. That culture has been going for generations. We're looking at 4-5 generations of car enthusiasts already, and it's been part of what we've grown up with. So I didn't want that to die. So I thought, let's bridge it to something. And my love for collectibles, my love for technology, and my kind of vision for bringing a community and car culture and motorsport and all together on a global scale, so that brands actually take notice of us and brands actually participate in what we're doing and actually save the culture and bring it into the current world. Digital world is becoming more and more important. The car brands that I'm talking to, they are excited about getting there.
Technology allows us to escape the barriers of the price entry in a way, but at the same time, with this being an NFT collection, obviously you guys had a mint initially. So can you give us a grand vision, I suppose? Is this going to be something that only people that buy these NFTs can be associated with? Are there going to be games attached to it? What's kind of the big overview for somebody hearing about this for the first time?
First and foremost, we decided to start off by being a club, to share our enthusiasm about cars. And every Discord that I've ever been part of, I collect a lot of collectible NFTs, so a lot. I can't describe how many. One of the things I love is the Discord and meeting people and talking to people. And sometimes we would have discussions in Discords about cars for hours, with everyone posting their car experiences and stuff like that. And having a space that is about cars has been amazing for the club. So our goal is to grow a big community, to be part of that community, and to make it for the community, make it about the community. And by doing that, I think we'll bring brands in.
Okay, so you threw this link in here, and I just started kind of walking around here. So this is sweet.
That's what I'm talking about, the future. So the future, I don't think we're going to look at websites like a catalog where we flick through things to buy them anymore. I think we're going to go to people's spaces that they've prepared for us, and that we're going to be part of their environment that they've prepared, and we're going to look at their products or look at their collections or look at their digital things in a space. And a lot of big companies out there are spending billions of dollars to try and make that a possibility. So that's what we're building as well. So we're building that connection from cars to that future of where digital life is just as important and sometimes more important than your everyday physical spaces.
But there was a car in the basement of this, and so when we go over and we check out certain things like on OpenSea, for example, ignore the feet pics thing, we were trying to do that a second ago. But the membership cards here, there's a whole bunch of different ones, and we saw that car in the garage. So do these represent a different car? Is this access to kind of the world, access to a garage itself? What do we need to know?
So these are the membership cards. So they have a number of traits in them that respond. So one of them is a nanobot. Nanobots, they have a job to remember blueprints, download blueprints, and then create vehicles or create modifications and parts and wraps and things like that for your car. Everyone with a card will be able to claim a car, the first car. But we think that there'll be, for example, there's 480 cars to collect in GT7. So we think that there'll be a big appetite for people who are in the club to collect a number of cars each over time. So by playing games and earning resources and collecting recipes or blueprints and materials and stuff like that, you'll be able to actually produce your car using this nanobot. And any extra cars that you make or any extra parts that you make, you'll be able to sell them as NFTs, to those who are looking for them, right? So it makes it a really important to participate, and we're even opening the door so that if you and your friends share a card, if each of you have a car, you can all compete individually, but you can pool your resources into making more cars or more parts. And you can see here this 3D generator under the bench here. So if you walk closer to that, you'll see a few. So this is where you'll claim your initial car, and your initial car will be built if you have a membership card, and where you will, you've got a blueprint station over here. This is our on-track digital collectible. So we have a card collection that we're building out of sponsoring different race car drivers for different races and different things. So this is our connection to collectibles and real-world motorsports, which is I'm super excited about. We've already had one NASCAR Xfinity racer that we sponsored last year, and we really enjoyed, and we've got some cool stuff coming up this year as well. Well, that's our connection to the Fluff World Underground.
Does everyone have a garage, or how does that work?
You know what? Everyone will be able to access the garage and access the cars that they have in their wallet, and access the music they have in their wallet, and access all the content and things in here. If you don't have a nanobot, or so if you don't have a membership, you won't be able to manufacture cars, but you should be able to do some other things like interact with some of the blueprints that are already there for mods and things like that you've created. If you do have a card, you should be able to start collecting blueprints for vehicles and using the resources available in the game to collect those. Our music station here is going to have sort of an ability to look into your wallet and collect up from the IPFS links the music that you've got in your wallet, and you'll be able to mix it and make the space your own from in there. There are various different garages with various different spaces in them and various different connections in them, and they're linked to the special card editions of the cards that that we've produced. So you'll be able to choose which garage you're in based on the experience. And because we think this is the future, we think that this is not a game. This is the space that you interact with ATEM. And the games are something that you play, within there. And we're going to connect all of that in. So you'll see a lot of iterative stuff. If you walk over to the podium there, you can go in and select from the different cars. We've loaded up 4 cars in this garage, so you can select from different cars in there.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then load them up, and the assets that we're building. So we have an amazing team of 3D artists who are building these files. Our goal is to create vehicles that you want to collect, but that are not disposable. So that are compatible with game after game after game, and you can bring them and you can improve them. And there's, rather than just playing a game, collecting all the cars and then waiting for the next release and having to go through from zero again. So you could be known for the car you're driving in the metaverse or the vehicle. And we have a lot of
now we're talking. Yo, that's insane.
It's as much identity as, your PSP, in my opinion,
Yeah, you're totally. Well, Lorax has a question in the chat, and I think you hinted, or you said yes earlier, but maybe just a little bit more into it. So they're asking, could you take a part off your car and sell it?
The way we're designing the main car, collection modification experience at the moment is actually that once it's installed, you can replace it with another part, but you can't remove it and sell it secondhand. And we're doing that for a number of reasons, because we want to encourage participation, because you can't have a community without people participating,
100%.
So if you can, if you want to work on your car, you got to play the game. You got to get those new parts. You can go out and buy them off people who have played the game and got the extra parts and, built up that, the extra things for themselves, and they want to, return some money back to them for their effort. You can buy it and put it on there. But once you put it on there, if you want to change it, you have to go out and get those resources again.
So there's another question here from the chat from Not Good, and one of the recent car brands launched their own NFT within Porsche. So do you guys kind of view your game as kind of its own, like a brand has to go through you guys to be able to be in this world? Or do you think there's going to be a realm where if there's other car brands that have NFTs that they're going to cross-collaborate in some kind of way?
We've talked with a few brands already. They're really interested in a couple of things. One is the space that we've built. They would love to have a garage space to their style for their customers to work, to interact in, and maybe link it to our games or our world or our content, but that's up to them. But they love this idea of having a space where you as a car holder of their brand can participate, can interact. The second thing that they love is that we have a standard, and there is a lot of vehicles out there, cinematic vehicles and game vehicles. We are probably at the very, very, very top end in the assets that we're creating. But we can take the assets that they have, the digital assets they have, and give them a standards. We have a standards document and a build document, and we can give that to them to be able to ready their vehicle file to work in the game. And we think this is an open metaverse. We think there should be lots more car clubs other than ATEM Car Club. We think that every brand should be able to interoperate. And we don't think that just going to a website and clicking on a catalog of things is the future. We think spaces and connecting those spaces to your other spaces, and connecting your car community with your maybe collectibles community, or your hobby or passion. So like, for example, if you've got a real passion for saving the planet, maybe like you have a community that's connected to your to that hobby as well, and you have a space for that. And we think that all these spaces should be interoperable, and that's why we're using standards that exist in the industry, standards that creatives can use, things that you don't need to buy expensive licenses to be a creator, and we're creating the tools for you to be able to add to the official collection so that you can create something yourself and make it available in the game.
So, Jeff, I'm noticing on some of these memberships, there's different backgrounds. Is that important? Or if somebody's looking at getting one of these, should they know, like, hey, these actually have something that's important to them? Or are they just kind of different stylistic effects for the NFT itself?
Yeah, there are going to be some special things that you get based on the background that you have, based on the bot that you have, based on the fuel that your card takes, based on the technology that your card's made from. So there's all the little traits matter. It's important to have a membership or to be friends with someone who's got a membership.
And I mean, the bigger thing with all of this is that you're attached to Futureverse, which I'm super high on, but there's a lot of people that might not know what Futureverse is, but they might have seen the trailer where there's been ATEM cars in there. So what's your kind of relationship with that world that's getting built out?
I've been part of it for since it started, so back in 2016, 17, and our idea is to create a frictionless way for individuals, for creators, for musicians, for content, distributors, for to exist and succeed together, rather than having to depend on big tech. And big tech at the moment, like, they make it almost impossible to enter and succeed in their realms. What we're trying to do is create the big tech in the background so that everyone doesn't need the big tech to succeed. And that's when you will start seeing some of these amazing creatives. And we're already seeing that. We've seen that since, early 2021. We've seen so many creatives that are immensely talented and experienced gain the vision for this disruption to big tech. And that's what we are. And that's what we're doing.
It's fascinating hearing you talk about all this, guy. It gets me excited hearing about what the future is going to hold with all this, because I really think that it is a time when the disruption for everything in the world is really kind of at a tipping point, and this looks like it's going to be one of the ones that do that. But there's a question here from the chat from Lorax. Are you guys making every customization at a cost, or will there be free ones? Sorry if this was answered. My headphones died.
Oh, so the cost is going to be participation.
Ooh, okay.
So we're not planning to sell you the prizes for winning a race. We're planning on creating prizes for winning a race and giving you utility that you can spend that on. And we have a very cool little system that we've created of blanks. So similar to what you would have seen in 10K TF, where they have blanks, but for your mods. So resources you'll be able to collect the resources to make a blank in the game by participating. And then you'll be able to apply some creative person's design to that blank to put on your car, or even create a design yourself to put on that blank. So if you want new wheels, like you could have your own wheels, following whatever physics rules that you like, and apply those to to your vehicle. And so we've got some really cool little protocols in the background that are going to make these cars not disposable. And that's the change. That's where the digital world needs to change to meet the physical world as collectibles that are not disposable.
So what would you say is the most exciting part of ATEM from your point of view? Because I think there's a lot of people that are asking these different questions, and why I've kind of tried making some of the questions like, hey, if you're looking at getting in here, what would you look at, from the membership cards to everything? But what do you think is the most exciting part about what you're doing?
I think the most exciting thing to me is, as the club grows, our attractiveness by brands will grow, and they will give us opportunities to really do exciting things in the motorsport world and in the car collecting world. And that's my most exciting thing. That's what drives me every day. I'm like, this brand is going to be so cool, and it's owned by the community. We minted in Asto, and every single Asto that we minted with is sitting in the Linares machine. Ooh. Earning Asto energy. So not one Asto has been spent from the mint. And so we have a massive investment that's owned by the club. We're looking for ways to grow into the future, so that the club can grow, and so the things the club does grows.
That's incredible. And speaking of community that you just mentioned, a question here: will we all share a garage like a community space, or will each member get a garage?
So every person who will be able to enter a garage. So the garage I'm in at the moment is a standard garage. Every person could enter it, even if they didn't have a vehicle yet, and they can interact with all of the content and things like that, and even get in touch with people in the community from the garage, from the generic garage, and find someone who wants to sell them or lend them a vehicle so they can race in the game. So the garage is accessible. There will be different levels and different versions of garages with different things in it, and they will be quite collectible as well. The next thing is that those garages, when you own a membership card and you have one of those special garages, they have different capacities, and this is a roadmap item. We have multiplayer technology in the burrows already, so that multiplayer, people being invited to your personal space, and then customizing your personal space. We're very excited about all the opportunities and creativity available for customizing the space, your own personal space, and saving that. So those things will be coming as well.
So we got a couple more questions from the chat that we'll try to rip through here. So if you could sponsor any motorsports person in the world, who would it be?
It would be, for me, and what the vibe of the club as well. It would be the person who is winning at the lower levels and ready to step up. Not the person who was champion. Not the person who was champion last year. We'll let the generic vodka brands sponsor them, and we can bring the up and comers. We can give the person who needs the funding, who needs the community behind them, the chance to race their first season and the next step up for themselves, to gain that skill, to gain that recognition, and to gain that opportunity in their life.
Question here from Lorax. Will there be a community space to show off vehicles? Which I think would be really cool. Like to your point about the identity and getting known for showing off or, owning a certain car. I think that aspect will be cool. So is there a community space?
There's actually a whole environment outside the door of that garage.
Okay, nice.
And you can see some of that environment in the background of the cards.
Oh, okay. So another question in here.
Every single background is actually a space.
That's so it's not just garages then. It could be like a massive environment then.
Yeah. I think we're pretty much sold on the idea that the metaverse needs a map. And your map can connect whichever way you want it to, but you should be able to have a seamless, endless VR experience,
And so the next question here, can you talk a little bit about how the scaling is going to work? Because as you mentioned, the car club is going to grow, so you might need more than 10,000 of these NFTs.
The way we've designed the car club is so that the cars are the collectibles. The memberships, I think that people will share them. They'll build teams. And we've built a lot of stuff of game thought into the game and game design around the benefits of working together with a guild or a team. Just like it is in motorsport. You can't race a car on your own. You need a team. And I think that people will share the membership cards as a team as it grows. And that's what we've designed the cards to do. We've designed it to be a shared thing.
Awesome.
So that you and your team, your group can become famous together.
So Jeff, I want to open the floor here just for a second for you. You probably have a lot of people that own ATEM memberships in the chat. Is there anything that you're wanting to say to them directly here?
I think that you've shared the alpha. Look out for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Love it. All right. Well, guys, listen, if you are not following ATEM Club on Twitter, it's down there in the chat. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for coming on here. Hopefully we can do this sometime again and really appreciate your insight and very excited to see the full scope of everything you're working on here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.